Welcome to Best Life Ever, the podcast with your hosts, time and energy coaches, Kimi and Pua. At Best Life Ever, we are on a mission to expand the way people think, work, and live in today's modern world. And in today's episode, we're going to be sharing with you one of our favorite strategies for helping not only individuals, but also teams and families and organizations to really get aligned with their values and to create their best life ever. But first, we wanted to share with you that this episode is brought to you by Best Life Ever Fix. BLE Fix is our monthly membership for motivated individuals who want to transform their personal and professional lives in a convenient, easy, and fun way that fits our modern on-the-go lifestyle.
Oh, yeah. And guys, we have a really important announcement about BLE Fix. So as you guys know, we talk about this all the time. BLE Fix is a membership service that we've been running for a few months now, and we absolutely love it. And we have some really exciting changes coming to it. So right now, BLE Fix is $20 a month, which was the introductory rate that we had set. And as long as you're a member, you get to keep this rate. And you already get weekly trainings, an amazing membership site with all of the recordings we've ever done, and a private BLE Fix community forum. So here's the announcement. We are closing registration for this at the end of August. And this is the last opportunity you have to get into the Fix at this price. If you want to opt into the Fix after that, you'll be waitlisted, and we'll let you know when we reopen registration, but we won't be reopening until 2018. We have amazing things in store for this community. So if you want extra accountability, tools, and strategies to navigate this holiday season, if you're ready to level up and get control of your happiness, your health, and find your purpose, now is the time to jump into BLE Fix.
Awesome. We love our BLE Fix family, and we can't wait for all the exciting things happening for that community. And we have another exciting announcement. We have so many fun, exciting announcements today. In order to check out the BLE Fix page, now you will go to bestlifeever.buzz to find out more. So bestlifeever.buzz is our new website name, and along with bestlifeever.buzz as our website, our social media handles are now at BLE Buzz, because our mission is to help people feel that best life ever buzz. So we're very excited about this. Check it out. And, all of these exciting announcements, really everything that we do here at Best Life Ever is birthed. I love when we use that word in our messaging, but it really is birthed from one of our core practices, which is our Best Life Ever weekly planning. This is how our company was created, and this is one of the foundational tools and strategies that we share with all of our clients, and that is just ingrained in our work culture and our company culture. And that's what we're going to be talking about today on the podcast, which is how to take this Best Life Ever weekly planning process that we created for individuals and apply it to your business, your family, your partnerships, and your teams. And we're going to share a little bit because, of course, this is, it was created originally as an individual process, but we're going to share today how to take the process and use it with others.
Totally. And before you guys turn this off and go to your next podcast because you think we've already talked about this, don't go anywhere, right? Because as Kimi said, this is going to talk specifically about how we use this process to work with teams, partners, families. And, before we've walked you guys through this process before, so we're not going to go into any details. If you haven't heard those episodes, definitely go back and listen to them after this because it's an amazing process. And as Kimi said, this has been the one tool that has really shifted both our individual lives and our business. And as Kimi also said, August is full of transition and change and exciting improvements and opportunities for us because of this process. So if you feel like maybe you are in a little bit of a rut, or if you are stuck or not necessarily moving forward in your business, in your work, with your family, or if you're excited to create some new energy, this is the perfect process to implement.
Yes, we get so many questions about communication and challenges that people may be having either with communicating in the workplace or at home or with their family. And this is always the tool that we recommend to help you to get everybody on the same page, to improve communication, to improve workplace or home life effectiveness, and just that feeling of everybody is aligned, everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows what it is that the mission of the organization or of the family is, right? So you're sharing your values, you're sharing what's important to you. It is such a powerful communication tool. But it's going to look a little bit different whether you're doing it as an individual or with a partnership or with a team, or depending on what your company looks like, or of course, if you're doing it with your family, and especially the ages of your family matter too. So we wanted to get into the details because we get a lot of questions about this. How do I use this with my, with my partner? Or how do I use this with my family? So that's what we're going to dig into today. And let's start with how we use this process, Pua.
For sure. And I think it's important to first take a step back and look at a bigger picture of the process. So whether you're doing this individually with a business, with a partner, with your family, the components of the process are the same. So if you guys have ever done our weekly planning process, you know that it starts with a big vision process. And this isn't something that you do every week. You do it maybe every 3 months, or it's intermittent throughout the year. And if you're doing this as a business, of course, you're going to look at the big vision in terms of your business plan, right? And it as a business owner, this is really, really, really important, because we always say if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there and you'll end up somewhere crazy, right? So get really clear about this and share it with your team. So Kimi and I do big vision planning every couple of months. We actually just did one this week, and it's so energizing because it allows you to take a snapshot of where you are now, take a look at where you were a few months ago, and then where you want to go in a few months. And it's cool to see the progress that you've made, right? So that's kind of the first step. And then every week you can take a look at last week. What did you learn last week? What can you celebrate? What were great things that happened? What wasn't so great that you can learn from? And again, whether you're doing this for yourself, your business, your family, that is worth doing. Then look at this week, right? Look at your schedule and then kind of check in. And this is the part where people ask, do you do this as a business? Because in the individual planning, you check in with yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And while not all organizations will check in with their employees on these 4 levels, it could be a really great thing to implement to make sure that you are supporting your employees physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And you can still keep that kind of business relationship, but make sure that your employees are okay, right? And it's a great tool to see how you can support them, because the whole goal here is work-life integration. That is the foundation of everything that we teach. So if you are able to understand maybe just a little bit of the big vision of your employees, you'll be able to understand what motivates them. Why do they work? What are they here for? Maybe they love the business and they love the service. They love your clients, and that's really what fires them up. Or maybe they appreciate the work that they do so that you can financially support them in the dreams that they have outside of work. So if you can understand what motivates your employees and why they're there, this check-in can be really helpful in giving them the support they need to be successful at work. Went off on a tangent there, sorry.
Love it. Preach, girl. It's so true. And I feel like you could even say the same thing for any relationship or family situation too. And what I love about this process so much is, it's our joke, right? That we always say this system is compatible with everything. It's compatible even with Outlook. It's compatible with like any calendar system that you have. It is compatible with any software you have, any task management system. And that's really the point. This system is, it's a guide. It's a guide to help you, and you can use it in conjunction with your calendar system of choice, whether that is something online or just a handwritten calendar. And also it can be used with your task management system of choice, whether that's some software that you're using to manage all of your tasks, or if it's just a to-do list that you have jotted down. So this planning system is the important thing to do is just to have your calendar in front of you, have a piece of paper to write down your tasks, or have your task management system with you, and look at last week, look at this week, look at next week after you've done that big visioning.
Absolutely. So as a business, we'll start there. This process, as Kimi said, is a little bit different than the one that we use individually. So we'll just give you a little sneak peek of the way that it's different for us at Best Life Ever when we do this as a business versus individual. So again, take a look at our previous episodes for some of the specific questions in the individual process. As a business, first of all, we say that when you do this individually, create that time for yourself, put aside an hour, get a glass of wine, get a cup of coffee, whatever that is, sit down and reflect. When we do this as a business, we try to be mindful of our time, right? So there's a conversational aspect of this. And it's very, very cool because it fosters a lot of creativity, a lot of collaboration, and a lot of conversation. And this can go on and on and on. And for us, it often does. And it's hard to stop because it really is, it's quite magical. And those times where you're in the flow with a group of people and you're working on a project or you're working on brainstorming and things just kind of evolve. And we find that happens with this process because we've been very intentional about the questions that we ask ourselves. So for example, for our business, one of the questions that we ask is, and this can definitely be used for any version of this, but put the kids to bed for this one. What bullshit stories are we telling ourselves to keep us from stepping into our power? And you can reframe this question in whatever way you deem necessary for appropriateness at work. But it's really important to see what's holding you back from achieving that next milestone. Ask if you have an employee who's not getting the results that you expect, what's in the way of that? And sometimes there's something, it doesn't have to be a bullshit story. Sometimes it's a system that's in place that's actually blocking something from happening. Or, maybe they think, I didn't know I was allowed to go out and talk to potential clients. I thought I had to just call them on the phone because that's the instruction that I got. And they're like, you can say, no, of course you can go out. Or yes, this is why you have to call them on the phone. But without that question, these challenges remain unaddressed. This often comes up as like a really big kind of detrimental thing when you are only checking in with your employees once every 6 months. You have those, or once a year, even worse, right? So make a habit of asking your employees and asking your organization these questions on a regular basis. And if you can, do it weekly. Yeah.
You make a really great point that in the beginning, this process can take a lot longer because if you haven't been checking in with your team and your team hasn't been gathering like this on a regular basis, then there's a lot of layers that might need to kind of be sorted through. And it's almost like you open the floodgates, right? So, put some parameters on it, certainly, but just trust that the more that you do this, the more concise the meetings will get, of course, unless you're doing a big visioning session with your team. But allow for a little bit of, an opening of the gates sort of to happen at first. And another piece that is unique to our business version of this is that we also use this as an opportunity to track our numbers. Now, I want to really emphasize here that we don't report to each other what the numbers are. That's a misuse we'd feel of our time. Instead, we look at our numbers. We have it on a shared Google Doc, and we're tracking our social media followers. We're tracking our revenue. We're tracking various aspects of our business that we're interested in growing, right? Because you can't manage what you don't measure. But we don't spend a lot of time talking or reporting about these numbers. We look at them and then get the feeling that those numbers are feeling, giving to us. And then it leads us into the rest of the process. So for example, if, this seems a little bit slow this week. So what can we do? How can we grow this? Right. So it's a trigger. It's not something that we're reporting on or dwelling on, but it's important. We really believe in the power of tracking. So that may be something that you want to incorporate into your business weekly planning. And then it's cool too, because you get to see your progress. Because as businesses, right, we're so forward focused all the time that it's refreshing and inspiring and motivating to be able to say, wow, look at that. A few weeks ago, this is where we're at. Now this is where we are. So we're acknowledging and reflecting on our growth. And as we've said before, motivation and inspiration doesn't come from thinking about how far you still have to go. It comes from recognizing how far you've come.
I'm so glad you talked about the tracking aspect, because we do a lot of coaching on meetings. And so often meetings are used for one person to stand up and just deliver numbers, right? And sometimes it's double work because you're already getting the numbers in an email. So you get your weekly numbers on Monday morning, and then Monday afternoon you have a team meeting where someone gets up and talks about the numbers again, and then everybody leaves, right? And meetings are for, think about the potential of a meeting with people together in a room. There is so much potential for collaboration, for creativity, for brainstorming. Yes, I understand that organizations have layers and hierarchies and people don't get along, and we get asked all sorts of questions about meetings. But for us, if we are true productivity coaches, it would be irresponsible of us to not address the pure inefficiency that meetings have become these days. So as Kimmy said, definitely share your numbers, but we recommend sharing your numbers, have the numbers that you're responsible for reporting ready to share in this weekly check-in, and use the numbers as a tool as you go about answering the rest of the questions, right? So another one of the questions that we love to ask each other in our business planning is what our MEBAs are for the week. And that's an acronym for our most important bold action. And this is really a question of essentialism, right? So what are we going to focus on this week to move our business forward? And this isn't a list of tasks. This is we choose no more than 3 things. We just had a big event, and for about 2 weeks, that event was the only MEBA on our list because that was really our most important bold action. And we would pull specific numbers from our reporting to support some of the things that we were doing to get ready for that event. But it wasn't all about the number. The number was a tool, right? So think about your meetings and if there's any way that you can make them more interactive and more efficient.
Yes. And one of the wonderful, powerful things that happens with sharing your MEBAs with each other or with your team is accountability. And accountability is often the piece that's missing, right, for us to take action. So, we'll often as individuals honor our external commitments before we'll honor our internal commitments. It's just a personality thing, right? And so, accountability is a super powerful tool that you can leverage language. And it can be, I mean, just imagine how transformative it is for you and your team to sit down every week and share with each other what your most bold action is that you're going to be taking care of that week. And knowing and trusting that in another week, you'll be reporting on that or sharing or saying, yeah, I did it. I got that done. Now this is my next most important bold action. So accountability, accountability, accountability.
For sure. And that definitely bleeds into using this at home with your partner, your spouse, your significant other, your family. This is a process that, like, think about your home as okay, let me back up. Your individual life, right? Your business and your home are all these beautiful, well-oiled machines or these beautiful plants, right? And they look different from the outside. But if you find a process that is able to move your life forward, and the same or a very similar process is able to move your business forward, let's then explore the possibilities of using that process to align with your family and your significant other and move all of those lives forward. And so this is something that what Kimi has done with her family, and we'll have her share a little bit about that. But we get a lot of questions about relationships in our workshops and how, my schedule is so different from my spouse's schedule, or, we haven't been seeing eye to eye on everything. And what do you recommend? How do we fix that? And so this has really been something that's proven to be useful in just getting everyone on the same page. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. So this is fun. I'm so excited to share about how this process works or doesn't work with a family. Because I spent years trying to, figure out the best way, to use this process in a way that is, productive and fun and joyous, not just for me, but for my family. And we've even kind of toyed around with doing a best family version of the weekly planning process. But I think that it's really, what I've found, is that it's really unique to the ages of the children involved, as well as, the attention span for sure. And then the unique dynamics and personalities. So, but what I will say is I think that there are some basic guidelines that anybody could use to have this be really, a really powerful tool. And the first suggestion that I would have is to, not be too rigid with the structure. And in the beginning, when I tried this with the family, I would, say, okay, we're all going to sit down and we're all going to ask these 8 questions because the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you're willing. And I was like, no, don't, just, they're like, Mom, no. And so there's that. And then also, stick with the basics, especially as your kids maybe get a little bit older and there's, their social lives start weaving into this and you have multiple calendars that you're juggling. Really just pull out the calendars, take a look at the week ahead and see what is going on, and you could really simplify the 3 pieces to this by sitting down with your family. It could just be over dinner and saying, hey, how was last week? What's going on? What's present for you right now? And what do we have coming up next week? So it's like you're kind of it's just a time to connect with each other, right? And you have your calendars out. It's a time to look at ways that you can make the rest of the week easier. And this is a question and a concept that kids grasp very, very well, which is, how can I make my life easier? How can we make things easier? And I found that question alone, sitting down and asking my family that, I've had the most success. And they have wonderful ideas too. Like it's really great. Kids get that. Like, cause everybody wants things to be easy. easy, right? It's only us adults that like think that life has to be so hard, but kids really grasp the concept of easy and fun. The other piece that's very successful is the joy list aspect of it. So asking your family as part of, instead of doing like this whole big, like, what do you want to be in your life? Like, don't try to make your big vision too big. Instead, just work on the joy list piece of it and say, what brings you joy? What would you like to do more of? What are fun things? What are we excited about? And when you have that list, you can use that every week as, it's time to sit down and see what things this week are we going to do off of our joy list. And we even had a friend, Joel, who did this with his family, and he had a jar, and he would put all the things in a jar, and then they'd get to pull the things out, which is so fun. And of course, you can weave in the gratitude aspect, which is lovely to do with the family and such a great thing to kind of build into your family culture. And that's just sharing, things that you're grateful for. This is something we've done on a nightly basis, or anytime we do dinner around the table, where it's, a gratitude circle. What are you grateful for? And then we've also done proud of circle, right? So what are you proud of? So simple things, gratitude. What are you proud of? So those are the things that have worked. The other thing that I would share is, and this is something that I had to work on, was to not be so rigid during the process. Meaning, like, if kids want, like, this is an opportunity to hear what is present for your kids. It's a really great chance to listen to what's going on in their minds and what they're excited about. And so resist the temptation to keep everybody on a schedule, or to like get in there and say, no, we have to get through this thing, because the most beautiful, miraculous, wonderful conversations happen when you just let things flow. And for some of us, that's harder than it is for others, but definitely let things flow. And I have one more thing. Don't be hard on yourself if you can't stick to this process on a regular basis. And always keep in mind that any moment is an opportunity for weekly planning. So maybe it's in the car ride on the way to school. Maybe it's just in a random moment when you're waiting for something. So, it doesn't have to be, it's great if you can schedule it in the calendar and have a designated time, but, capitalize on whatever time you have, and capitalize on whenever your children are willing to talk to you.
That's great advice. Do you guys ever do like, what are you proud of? What is your joy list? And what are your fails from last week?
Oh, yeah. We've done fails. We like to laugh about our fails, for sure.
That's awesome. I like that.
And I had somebody once share that they did thorns and roses around.
Oh.
Yeah. And then, so we did a little spin on that. So thorns and roses from your week, right? Or your day. And it's like, what are the things that are like, ugh, like they sucked? And then what are the things that are great? And then we take that a step further and we say, how can we turn a thorn into a rose? Like, how do you transform that challenge into something, like find the benefit right in that challenge? And that's a fun little game.
That's so cool. And that advice to go with the flow and not get so stuck on finishing every single question is really it's good advice no matter when or where you're doing this and with who, because Kimi and we shared a few podcast episodes ago in our fail episode that sometimes we don't finish the entire thing. And it's okay, because it's just a tool, and these questions are there to spark inspiration and spark creativity and to spark some problem solving where it's needed. And should you not make it all the way through a few times or more, it's totally okay.
Totally. I feel like that's like a societal bullshit story, is that we have to finish everything. Like, no, you don't have to finish everything. You don't even have to finish a book. You don't even have to finish anything. Right?
Totally. I think for us too, I call myself a creature of habit, and without the like regular habit, like if we skip a week, That's hard for me. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. Just call it a wash. I'll see you next week. I'm out. Right? Like the whole week is done. It's kind of like when people are like, oh my God, like I haven't worked out in like 3 weeks. Screw it. I'll see you in 2018. Like it's only August, right? So, yeah, be easy on yourself and just kind of let go of that need for completion and that need for like rigid routine, because I'll tell you what, it's been hard to let go of that, but life is a lot less stressful without it. So
right. It's that balance. It's that beautiful balance of like,
totally
have routine, have structure, put accountability in, strive for greatness, but then be easy on yourself. Don't feel like you have to finish everything. It's like you have to learn to trust that inner wisdom that is guiding you. Like there are times, and I love this, is that when we'll be in our best life ever weekly planning together as a business, and you and I'll just say, you know what? I just feel like we shouldn't finish this right now. Let's just dive into our work. And that's listening to our inner wisdom, and it's honoring ourselves. But then also our inner wisdom then will tell us, hey, you know what? It's time to finish this one. Like, let's get this one done. So learn to trust yourself, I think is the most important lesson here.
Yay.
Awesome, guys. Well, reach out if we can support you in any way. You can reach us at our new email, aloha@bestlifeever.buzz.
Have a great week, guys.